we have found some really awesome things, from animal bones to tools to a hotel that we had to do.
What part of my job is to make sure that FDOT is a good steward to our community, so we preserve things.
Welcome to our second episode of the Florida in Motion newscast. Really excited to be bringing you a new segment this time about cultural resources, and we're calling it History's Mysteries. We have some really neat things to talk about today. And to start off with, I actually have Jennifer Marshall here as our guest. She's the director of the Office of Environmental Management. So, Jennifer, introduce yourself to us. Tell us what you do and why it's important.
Well, my name is Jennifer Marshall. I am a civil engineer. I have been working with the department for about 6 years, and I run the Office of Environmental Management. We oversee all of the environmental policy and compliance for the department. And one of the things that's really cool about my office, and I wanted to mention that I'm a civil engineer right up front, is that we have a huge breadth of people in our office. We have planners, we have engineers, we have biological scientists, we have archaeologists, and it's just very exciting the way that we're able to bring kind of the softer elements of projects and kind of preserving our communities into our
You
transportation.
actually have professional archaeologists that work
Yes.
in environmental management. Wow,
That
that's
actually
pretty cool.
go into the field, dig up artifacts.
Wow.
It's really amazing.
That's neat.
We have archaeologists really do an assessment on every single one of our projects. And for some of the more sensitive areas, they actually will go out and monitor what's happening. So that's what happened in St. Augustine with their boat, and it was just really exciting.
Okay, so we actually have like a cultural resources office within the environmental management office and central office, also in the districts.
Yes.
Okay, that's really neat because this is one of the things that's part of our culture, preserving Florida's unique character and history, making sure we're being sensitive to those things that are important to our communities, has really become a big focus of ours. And so just talk a little bit about what the role of the cultural resources office is.
Really, we're in all phases. So my environmental management office, we work with all phases from planning through maintenance, actually. So there are different steps where you do in PD&E more of a academic look potentially at what's going on. And then as we go into design and construction, then we're more out in the field.
So we've got some artifacts here with us
Yes.
right now. I would like you to share some of the cool things that we have found over the years.
Sure.
And just for the record, I have not even seen all of these artifacts, so I'm really excited to kind of hear about what's here with us.
So one thing that people are most used to are like arrowheads, right? That are tools. And one of the things I ask the staff is, how do you know that this is not just a rock when you're out in the field and it's an actual tool? And that's where the professionals come in. They go, because we're archaeologists, Jen. And I thought that was a really good answer.
Well, yeah.
Here is a plate that was found on one of our project sites. And things like plates and different things like this kind of tell us how people were, the culture, how they were eating, how they were traveling, where they were trading. All that stuff comes in. And this is a tool from one of the sites that we have. It was featured in the movie Cool Hand Luke. It's actually one of our maintenance yards. And this is one of the tools that was used in the prison for one reason or another.
Oh,
So
wow,
that's
that is
actually
really
really
neat.
cool. Yes.
Oh, do you know how old some of this stuff is?
Yes, we do. They're able to date just based on kind of the history of the area, but then again, those research institutions
Yeah.
can come in and actually help us with some of that carbon dating, et
Yeah.
cetera.
This arrowhead actually looks pretty old, so this is
Well, I can tell you it is prehistoric in the sense that these were some of the first people to come to Florida. So it may not be any of our named tribes even. It
Right.
may just simply be the people that were coming through on their way somewhere else.
I think I actually saw in a document somewhere that you had a few tools that were from the BC era.
Absolutely.
Wow,
And
that's pretty neat.
even some animal bones from that area too, which
Yeah.
I think is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So what happens when we locate like a historic artifact on a project or in an area? Like how do we treat that?
We're very careful in the area, and we make sure that we put that in our plan set too. So the contractor works with us, and they're very good about that, actually. Our archaeologists will come in and they'll excavate as they need to, making sure to be very sensitive, pack up the items, and then we will catalog them appropriately. if it's something that's tribal, we're very sensitive to that, and we return items to them in coordination with them as well.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you, Jennifer. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Ian, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of History's Mysteries, Florida in Motion newscast. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and why you think it's important.
Well, I am Ian Pawn, of course, and I am the Cultural Resources Coordinator out at District 2. And so what I'm responsible for is overseeing when we have a project to make sure that those cultural resources, if there's any cultural resources within a project, that we're taking care of those and we're watching out for them.
I would imagine working in District 2 in your profession is probably fairly active and exciting. I know we have a lot of historic areas in District 2. Most importantly, St. Augustine, which is, the oldest city, and it's something we're really proud of. And so there was a recent discovery on a project in St. Augustine. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So when we do a project like that is in an area like St. Augustine, where we know that there's a lot of historically sensitive material, we will have an archaeologist actually out there with the construction crews, because construction crews often they don't know what to look for, right? And so they might accidentally damage something or not even see it. And in this case, they saw something that looked a little bit like a piece of wood. And so they said, take a break, let's have a look at that. And when they started to look at that piece of wood, they were like, well, this is more than just a piece of wood. This looks like, as we kind of brush it off very carefully, this is looking more like it's a boat.
Wow. So it's really interesting that we, take the time and dedicate the energy and resources into making sure we're preserving those things that are important to Florida's history. So what are we going to do with the project site now that we've found this boat? I'm assuming that we fully excavated and extracted it out, and what happens next?
So that's correct. So what we did is that we very, very carefully documented everything. We wanted to make sure that we knew exactly what the vessel looked like in position, because sometimes the positioning of things tells us about why the vessel was there, for instance, or how it got there. And we documented all that, and then very, very carefully over the course of about a week, it was basically removed plank by plank, and then those pieces were taken, and they were taken to our partners with the City of St. Augustine and the St. Augustine Lighthouse Museum, who has some specialists that are really good at that kind of stuff, and it was put into wet storage.
So not only did we carefully excavate and extract it out, we also put the time, energy, and resources into preserving it after it was removed, so that it can become part of Florida's history and everybody else can enjoy it, perhaps maybe through the City of St. Augustine. So thank you for your time, Ian. Keep doing the great things you're doing, and let me know if you find something else cool.
Well, you'll be the first to hear it, I'm sure.
Thank you.